there's this belief that, people in the US somehow are more qualified or are going to do a better job. In certain cases they are, right? But the question you have to ask yourself is, so I'm going to pay somebody in the US, let's say $50 an hour, okay? And they're going to do a certain job for me. And then, or I could pay, virtual assistants, high-end virtual assistants, $6 an hour, and I could hire 8 of them. And would I get the same value? So what people try and do, which is a completely nonsensical idea, is that they say, well, instead of paying this person $50 in the US, I'm going to pay this virtual assistant $6 and expect to get the same value. Doesn't make sense. You're paying 12% of the amount. So what I found to be the case is that instead of paying that person $50 an hour, I get 3 virtual assistants at $18 an hour. I manage them properly. I look at their skill sets. I make them specialized. And a year later, those 3 virtual assistants are massively outperforming that person that was at 50. Okay. The other approach that I take, which is more common to my company, because a lot of people are like, wow, how are you growing so fast, is so instead of that $50 an hour spent in the US, I spend $50 an hour in the Philippines. So what I'm now doing is I'm basically hiring a team of 9 people. And I didn't save any money whatsoever. There was 0 saving. In fact, it probably cost me a little bit more because, there's costs related to these 9 people, right? So they don't cost you $6, they might cost you 7 or 8. And so if you keep your budget the same, but you're hiring these people in the Philippines, here's the following thing that'll happen. 1 out of those 8 will clearly be a rock star. And you're going to put the other 7, put them in charge of the other 7. So now the management headache reduces, right? You're not managing them. That person who's a rock star is managing the other 6. Number 2, they are going to be able, you're going to be able to achieve things that you could not achieve with that one person in the US before they got saturated, right? So now you can do new initiatives. You can, for example, believe it or not, in my company, I have a person who's just in charge of Instagram. They don't do anything else. They're just in charge of Instagram, right? That's what they do. They grow it. And maybe they might not work, 8 hours a day. They might work 3 or 4 hours a day. I don't like the jack of all trades concept because I've seen that people don't really grow there, right? So what I try and do is, obviously, like every other company, we do have jack of all trades, but even those jack of all trades are specialized. For example, there's a person, she's in charge of investor operations. When docs comes in, she checks them, she makes sure they're signed correctly. She talks with IRA companies, she sends out receipts when money comes in. I think that's specialization, even though she's an administrator. Now, normally in the US, most companies would not be able to do that because if they're paying $60,000 or $70,000 to an administrator, they expect them to do a lot more. But I can afford to have this one person do this, and she doesn't do anything else. So she's phenomenal at her job. And so a lot of investors tell me all the time, Neal, the response rate from your company is so much better than any other company we've invested with. And my answer for that, between you and me, is simply that I have 5 times as many employees. Yeah. It's crazy that more people don't do this, because the problem is that people are always trying to think of virtual assistants as a way to save money, where they're a vastly better way to 10x your company, right? And so if you, and then there's a lot of people that are like, no, but then, if you specialize them, then you're not getting utility from them. You're not, fully utilizing them. My point is, by specializing, the velocity of everything that your company is doing increases so much that it's only a matter of time before you have to add more people because they're overworked. Right? That's the reality of what happens when you 10x your company using virtual assistants. So I've never tried to save $1 using virtual assistants. I've never managed to save $1 because the vision always was take the budget, design a budget, based on US employees, and spend 1/3 of the money on US employees and spend 2/3 on the Filipinos.